Now, if you're watching this, I'm willing to bet you often spend half of your days browsing the classifieds while you're supposed to be working. You set yourself a budget and off you go, searching for the best car you can find. Well, today we're at John Holland with a theoretical budget of £100,000. So let's see what we can find. Probably not that. This though, R8 V10 Spider, 2017 model, less than 3,000 miles, would have been over 140 grand new, and it's now up for 97,900, over 40 grand, and it's barely even run in. So yeah, really nice. Maybe not what we're looking for today though. Now, to me, this one looks awesome. It's a 991 Gen 1 Turbo S, 2015 car, 27,000 miles, so a little bit older. This one's up for 99,900. It's got some really nice aftermarket carbon fiber parts like the mirror caps and on the interior as well. Orange calipers, I think that really set it off nicely. And this probably would have been touching 150 grand new as well. For me, being one of the fastest cars you can buy in the real world for under 100 grand, this has to be a contender. Now, if you think the R8 had suffered some pretty crazy depreciation, take a look at this. It's a Mclaren 570 GT in special order cobalt violet. Just over 2 years and under 4,000 miles ago, this would have set you back around 160 grand, even without options. And now, it's under 100, exactly the same money as the Porsche at 99,900. So someone has lost over 60 grand on this car in less than 4,000 miles. Ouch. It might be a bit of a brave pill when it comes to reliability and running costs, but at value like that, this has to be the second contender. So let's get them out on the road and see how they drive. Right then, we're starting with the sensible option, the one where you pretty much know what you're going to get. It should hold on to its money pretty well, it shouldn't ever go wrong, and it shouldn't break the bank to run either. But let's be honest, supercars are not about being sensible. So we're up here in the Peak District to find out what the do-it-all supercar's like when you just want a good old-fashioned thrill. The first thing the Turbo S brings to the table, power. 560 horsepower from a twin turbocharged 3.8 litre flat six. But what really tells the story of the way this thing pulls is 750 Newton meters, all the way from 2,000 RPM. So, God, there's a tiny bit of lag and then it just punches you in the guts. It's savagely fast. It's four-wheel drive as well, so even on a slightly greasy day like today, it just digs in. Another thing, four-wheel steering, so as well as the traction out of the corners, turn into them is so sharp. The turning circle is tiny as well when we've been spinning it around for the shots, but God, the stability is unreal. So much confidence into the corners, getting on the power out of them. It just feels like it could decimate any road in its path. Hairpin, first gear out of it. Yeah, and along with that power, you get the carbon ceramic brakes standard on the Turbo S. And you can really stand on them and they just haul it down. Again, they just give you so much confidence. That's what this car does as a whole. But confidence isn't exactly thrilling. But you can see that I'm still laughing driving the Turbo S, and that's because it's so savagely fast. It digs in such a comically brutal way that actually it's still fun. It doesn't sound of a great deal. Some nice little pops on the overrun, but if I pop the sunroof a little bit, you get those. And then when you get on boost, the whoosh it gives you. It's one of the most obviously turbocharged cars from its exhaust note, and no, it's not musical like a GT3, but it's a different kind of car. And if what you want is just ridiculous pace, the ability to just tear apart any road in front of you with ease as well, there is no effort to driving this car fast. You know, this is the go-to choice. I'm not sure there is anything out of the box that would touch a Turbo S over a country road. The only bad thing I can really say about it is it might be a bit too flawless. And that brings us on to the 570 GT, the braver option. But is it also the more special option? So the Mclaren is much less of a mass-produced product than a 911, and even just to sit inside, it does feel that way. It does feel that bit more special. Of course, outright performance is the Porsche's party trick, but this isn't exactly short of shove either. We've got a 3.8 litre twin turbo again, but in this it's a V8 with an extra 10 horsepower, 570. But it is down on that mad torque figure of the Porsche at 600 Newton meters, and it's actually made way up at 5,000 RPM. So it doesn't have quite that same gut-punching feel out of corners, but still, yeah, it's still really fast. And this is rear-wheel drive, so it does get a little lively on the way out of corners as well. Yeah, this keeps you on your toes a little more. It is it's quite lively. It hasn't actually got a sports exhaust, but it sounds pretty nice, especially from the outside. It does sound good. And in the handling stakes, of course, this is mid-engine rather than rear. It's carrying about 100 kilos less than the Turbo S, just under 1,500 kilos. And it is really eager to turn. The steering is very light, but it has that nice McLaren feel to it. It feels very natural. Unlike the Turbo's thrust all the way through the rev range, this does pick up a lot more towards the red line. It feels a little bit more naturally aspirated, but just with a hell of a lot of torque in the mid-range. I do wish it was a little bit more responsive low down. It feels like it's holding back a little until the turbos kick in. To say it's rear-wheel drive, the traction is really good. And once it gets going, it has that sort of feel to it where it could just tear apart a road at ridiculous pace, just like the Turbo. And whilst it's definitely not as flawless as the Turbo, and I don't think it's quite as fast, it doesn't inspire the same confidence as well to really push on. But I think that means it's that bit more rewarding. Ultimately, these two both make you wonder if it's really worth buying a new model when such massive amounts of money disappear in depreciation as soon as you get them home from the dealership. In this case, the first owner's loss is your chance to grab a proper supercar bargain. Sure, neither have a spine-tingling, high-revving soundtrack, but they're blisteringly fast and truly usable every day. It's tough to choose between them because they go about their business so differently. I'm a Porsche man at heart, and I love the way the Turbo S decimates any stretch of tarmac in its path. Take it on a Euro tour and not much will get near it over a mountain road. You just know it won't miss a beat, and it feels by far the more solid machine. But if you want something a bit less obvious with more of a sense of occasion, then you might just want the Mclaren. When you're looking at less than £100,000 for an out-and-out supercar sitting on a carbon tub with less than 4,000 miles on the clock, scary initial depreciation really has made the 570 GT a bit of a bargain. So I wouldn't blame you for taking the brave pill and bagging yourself what is a serious bit of kit for the money. More than trying to choose a winner though, this is more a showcase of just how much car you can get for less than £100,000 at the moment. Whether you're wandering around John Holland's showroom or flicking through the classifieds at the office. So, get searching yourself and let us know in the comments below what you'd buy with your imaginary 100 grand.